Hello, this is Melissa Terry, and this is my project for my instructional design interview presentation. And this is for course EAC 580 in the spring of 2017 at North Carolina State University as part of the Masters of Training and Development program. I chose to interview Jennifer Silverest, and she is currently a manager of instructional design at the company that I also work at, which is Time Warner Cable, now known as Charter Communications. And I thought it'd be interesting to speak with someone who designs material that I train. As far as education goes, Jennifer Silverest received her higher education at North Carolina State University, her Bachelor of Arts in Elementary Education, as well as her Master's of Education in Instructional Technology. She also has her certification in Project Management for Learning Professionals, and she states that North Carolina State gave her everything she needed to succeed in her current role. As far as work experience goes, Jennifer Silva started by teaching public education at the elementary level, but quickly decided that that level of audience was not for her. It was then that she made the decision to return to get her master's in instructional technology. And she did, though, mention that this is where she developed her passion for design, especially a holistic approach, where while teaching cooking, she could also be teaching science and history and have them write or comment as well on the cooking experience. That holistic approach really takes shape in her role as an instructional designer at Time Warner Cable, and she was quickly promoted to manager of instructional design, still at Time Warner, now known as Charter. And she's been there 5 years and got hired immediately after the master's completion. As far as my questions go, I wanted to know kind of what's going on there in L&D land, or learning and development. There seems to be a huge disconnect between the trainer's perspective and our environment and what's happening with the design. So some challenges we experience are timeliness of the materials getting to us, or knowing what needs to be scheduled and when, accuracy of test materials and curriculum information. Sometimes there are questions on a test that are not part of the curriculum. The relevance of the material. It's obvious, painfully obvious in different places, that activities and modules have been copied and pasted. Some of the material has not been edited. As well as on the job post-training, there are errors in application of the knowledge. Things are taught in the classroom that are not accurate in real-world scenarios. And I understand this will take place in any training environment, but does it have to be that bad? Is there analysis happening? If so, who is the one doing it, and why aren't trainers more involved? According to our textbook, there should be a team of SMEs working to create the training, not just one instructional designer far removed from the front line. If that's the case, I wanted to learn about it and see if there's anything I could help from my end as a trainer working with frontline employees. And along with the trainer's perspective, I also had a personal agenda in asking these questions. As you can tell, some of these challenges really do affect my job, and I also have an ideal kind of job environment in which I'd like to work one day, and it is kind of all about me. I'm number one. So my dream job is to just have flexible hours where I work around deadlines instead of timestamps, which is kind of what happens now, but the training schedule really does tie you down. I love traveling, and I do get to travel now for work. I am a creative person, and I must have a job that allows me to release that creativity and empower me to use that. I like some teamwork, but I enjoy individual work most. I still want to be able to teach. I don't want to feel like I'm taken out of the classroom forever. And I do enjoy time for growth and advancement, and I feel that knowing that there are instructional design managers, that's something I could be able to grow into. And she did go into detail about workshops that she's able to attend and speaking on panels, collaboration with other instructional designers through social media. and the like. So that made me very hopeful. I also asked about the proactive nature or non-proactive nature of our cable industry in context. We are reactive. We don't have time to be proactive. Things change too quickly and without notice for us to be proactive. So how does analysis actually fit into our context? If there is evaluation, who's caring? Who's caring about that evaluation? Who's hearing the results of it? Because we don't as trainers. Who is she working with to get the data, and where might this process of design and implementation be breaking down? We can move on to why I chose her. She, first of all, was in the right place at the right time. So we had Spectrum Pricing and Packaging launching as they bought out Time Warner Cable, and there was a huge initiative launching that I would be training. She actually conducted our Train the Trainer, or Tier 3, on site. I was impressed with her teaching ability and obvious passion for learning that showed through her communication. And then I found out she actually designed the training. So I asked her there on the spot. The other reason is because she's a Wolfpack alum, so go Pack. And with only 5 years of experience, I knew she would have some fresh takes on instructional design. And to be completely honest, I'm a little confused or impressed that she has a manager position after only 5 years out of the classroom. Very little experience at instructional design, only 5 years, fresh out of college, already managing others. As far as the nitty-gritty information we learned from the interview, there are some issues that take place in instructional design for Ms. Silverest. The SME involvement is an issue because they want details or different content included in the training that her audience, which she refers to as the vice president or executives are her audience, they may or may not want in the training. Therefore, she has to monitor SME involvement. Also, timelines. The execs are always saying, well, when you ask, well, when do you need this by? They state to her, oh, we needed it yesterday. Of course. Also, there's a constantly changing context that we live in, makes it almost impossible to take the time needed to reflect or revise training or even reuse training and resources. She doesn't have a very large team, and there's a huge drive for training right now in our company as we're making the switch over to charter. As far as theory versus practice, ADDIE is used, and Jennifer agrees that the analysis is the most important phase. Time is money, and everyone knows this, and it's seen in training very boldly. Evaluation requires a lot of data. She mentioned that some of the smaller training initiatives don't get a lot of data points, therefore there aren't level 3 or level 4 evaluations done on them. Evaluations even take time. They take money. We're moving so fast we don't have time to review or learn from any mistakes. And that's kind of what I got from her regarding evaluation. Adult learning styles are taking into account. Again, that probably just stems from Jennifer's holistic background in public education, and not all of our instructional design comes out with adult learning styles taken into account. And also, the trainer capabilities, sometimes I think there's a unspoken kind of understanding that the trainer or facilitator should add in activities or convert activities to the learner instead of doing exactly what's in the design. I'm not sure if the instructional designers are aware of this, but it'd definitely be a follow-up question I'd love to ask an instructional designer on a later date. Some challenges for tomorrow's instructional designers based on Ms. Silverest's interview would be incorporating technology into training while still being on a budget. We know from our readings that technology does have a higher upfront cost, but it can be used. When speaking to that, Jennifer stated that it's important that e-learnings have a shelf life. So be mindful if the material that you're putting into an e-learning is something that could expire, something that will be null and void after a few months. If so, it's not worth the money. She said there's a call for smaller learning modules, maybe 5 to 6 minute modules that could be completed at any time. Takeaways for me would be that everybody's on a time crunch, not just trainers, also the designers. So we should have an open mind and be understanding and empathetic to each other. Also, this is for me. Everything she confirmed everything that I want in a job could be found in being an instructional designer. That gives me great hope and excitement, really. Also, that I'm in this program because it really worked for her. Adult learning theory is there, it's just hidden sometimes. And also, maybe on the part of the trainer, we should incorporate a little more of that, taking into understanding that the designers are on just as much of a crunch as we are. And mostly, what struck me the most as a takeaway is that in a world where being proactive is just a pipe dream, like telecommunications or any kind of corporate America setting, analysis can still exist. Um, and that gives me hope as well that we'll be able to design training that's effective and learner centered going forward. Thank you so much for watching my presentation, and I hope you have a great day and go Pack.